Welcome back to our Coherence Hotspot. I think I know most of you, but some of you may be watching this on the replay. My name is Gina Daniels, and I own Jax-Zen Healing Arts Center, along with my husband, Jason. And I'm an approved HeartMath at Heart facilitator. So the HeartMath Institute, just to kind of give you a little recap, talked about this last week, but the HeartMath Institute was founded in 1991, and they research and develop scientifically based tools that bridge the connection between the heart and the mind. So their research has been going on, well, since 1991, a lot of years, and their work is used in a lot of training and education programs worldwide. A lot of major corporations use them, government and social service agencies, all branches of the military, schools and universities, hospitals. A lot of healthcare professionals use their techniques, and they even do programs for law enforcement agencies. So they've been around doing a lot of really good research over a lot of years. So very, very well-known and well-respected organization. So what is a coherence hotspot? So Coherence Hotspot is basically a location or group when people get together weekly or monthly. Anyone can join. Typically, we'd be doing this in person, but this is a great opportunity to bring in people that maybe couldn't make it in person. So even when we get back to social closeness, this might be a way that we continue to do some of these hotspots. So we are here to learn about and practice personal coherence through science and biofeedback, and to apply the global coherence and ultimately to create global coherence, and also really to ultimately create social change. The founders of the Coherence Hotspots have created a really great training program, and it's fully based on peer-reviewed, cutting-edge science. And so I'm going to be sharing some of that with you over the next few weeks. And I want to let you know that the Global Coherence Network is endorsed by the HeartMath Institute. So last week, I introduced you to the HeartMath Experience, which is a wonderful 90-minute program that teaches us about the wonders of the heart. And we watched the first two chapters. We watched the first chapter, chapter 1, was called It's Heart Time, and it was basically just a general overview of what to expect. And the second chapter, The Intelligent Heart, we learned about heart-focused breathing. This was just the recap of how to do it. And again, we're going to go through this again in today's video, adding on another element of it. Today, we're going to review the next two chapters, and they are the science of the heart, and they're really going to get into a lot more nitty-gritty about the neuroscience and what coherence is, how it affects our mind and our body. This is where it really gets into the nitty-gritty, and this is my favorite stuff. And then we're going to chapter 4 is about the quick coherence technique. So we're going to use that same heart-focused breathing that we started with, and then we're going to go into adding another element of that, and they call that a quick coherence technique. And this is a technique that I use on a daily basis with my inner balance trainer, which is totally optional, by the way, but it does help me just to get grounded. And once you practice this technique, it's really great to be able to use just on a daily basis, anytime when you just feel like you just need to kind of get in touch with your heart and get into coherence. So it's great. This is a technique that I think you'll really enjoy, and it's easy and to use on a daily basis. The other thing we did talk a little bit about is this inner balance trainer. And again, like I said, this is not necessary to use, but if you have one, I thought that you might want to go ahead and get it going. And because as we go through the training today, there will be some opportunity for us to just practice our coherence. So I'm going to turn mine on here. And the other thing that I shared with you was this app called the Global Coherence App. And I'm going to share my screen again and just remind you what this Global Coherence app looks like. If you have the app, if you want to go ahead and join in, we can see where everybody is. Then right now, you can see we've got 115 people all over the world that are logged into the Global Coherence app right now. And they're all over.
Oh, there I am.
Yeah. And so if we go in here, look at Mississippi. Oh, look here. Yep, definitely. You have a few of us out there. So I'm going to.
Let's see, Sherry.
Lori and Gina and Debbie. I feel like I'm on Romper Room.
I know.
Oh, that's right.
And then that was the global group. And then I've got our Jax-Zen group here at the bottom. And if you, again, you don't have to have the inner balance trainer to log into this. Let's see if we join the session for our group here today. And then look at the map.
How does it know your coherence?
It only knows your coherence if you do have the inner balance
You
trainer.
have that. Okay,
Yeah.
I got
Yeah.
you. Okay.
But it is still pretty cool. I mean, the important thing is that we're doing it. It really doesn't matter if we're measuring it, but that's the important thing. So this is the same map that we saw a few minutes ago, but this just shows that we've got 2 people actually logged into the Jax-Zen group right now. 3 people. Yeah, 3 people. So you can see here we've got some of us right around where the pink dots. Okay. Yeah, so that's nice and fun. Again, that's not necessary, but it is neat to be able to see that we're adding to the field. We're going to go ahead and queue up the first video. Okay, this first video is about a little over 8 minutes, and then I'll go ahead and get us back together again, and we'll visit for a few minutes, and then we'll go into the second video.
Yes, your biological heart is doing more than you may have imagined. In recent years, neurocardiologists have made an exciting discovery. They found that the heart has its own independent nervous system. This complex system is referred to as the brain in the heart. It sends signals to the brain that are transmitted to the amygdala, the emotional processing center, to the thalamus, which synchronizes our cortical functions and affect our higher brain centers that are responsible for clarity of thought and decision-making. The brain also sends signals to the heart, mostly to raise or lower our heart rate. But when researchers look at the information traffic in the body, it's clearly seen that the heart sends a lot more information to the brain than it receives. Brain function is critically dependent on this information. Heart and brain are in constant communication. The heart is doing most of the talking. Here's another interesting scientific fact. The heart is an electrical organ, producing by far the strongest source of rhythmic bioelectricity. This energy goes to every cell in your body. Your heart produces enough electrical energy to create a magnetic field surrounding your body in 360 degrees, extending beyond the skin out into space, measurable about 3 feet outside your body.
Magnetic fields contain information. We imprint our own magnetic field through what we're actually feeling, emotions that we're feeling. But then it gets even more interesting. It's like, magnetic fields relate to one another. They exchange information. So how is my field affecting your field right now and your field affecting mine?
A great analogy for this is cell phones. The way this works is our phone is generating an electromagnetic field in this case. And it's the magnetic field is carrying that information, or voice, right, or the photo, or the text message, whatever. So when I talk about the magnetic field of the heart, it's the same thing. So we can fairly easily measure that not only are we radiating these magnetic fields, but our nervous systems are tuned to these fields and receive information from others. So what this means is that there's a very real energetic or magnetic communication system going on between people all the time. And another part of
the reason I think the understanding the energetic communication that goes on between people is so important is in miscommunication. One of the greatest sources of stress between people. Is when we might be saying one thing, but our field is saying something else. And that leaves them with a disconnect or a confusion. Because our word said one thing, but we might have been sending another signal through our energetic system.
When our heart-brain-body communication is working well, we can enter a state of being in sync with ourselves, a state of higher coherence. So what is coherence? And why is this important? Coherence is a healthy, measurable state. The term refers to the cooperative alignment between heart, mind, and emotions. Higher coherence is good for us. It's a healthy state that regenerates us. It directly contributes to increased emotional balance, stability, access to intuition, and improved mental functions, such as the ability to focus, mental clarity, bigger picture thinking, memory, improved reaction times, and coordination. Coherence is often triggered by an experience of regenerative, uplifting emotions, like those long associated with the qualities of the heart, such as love, care, kindness, appreciation, and compassion. And it helps us generate more of these heart qualities. Coherence can be measured using technology that measures the beat-to-beat changes in the rhythmic beating patterns of the heart, like HeartMath's Inner Balance Trainer. This is called heart rate variability analysis. It's a measure of the naturally occurring beat-to-beat changes in heart rhythm. It serves as a critical method for gauging human health.
Coherence is a broad term in that it embraces many things, like synchronization and entrainment, a lot of other terms that we use in physics. But coherence always implies that the parts of a system, like within our body, for example, are communicating. There has to be communication, and that those subsystems from different parts of our body are working together in a harmonious and energy efficient way.
Well, coherence is something that's called actually medically psychophysiological coherence, which means it's both physical and it's psychological. Physically, what's happening when we're in a high coherent state is all the major body systems are synchronized to an ordered rhythmic beating pattern of the heart. That's things like respiration, digestion, immune system response, hormonal response, and brain function. They all sync up. And when that happens, it's a very healthy state. And it's also a high performance state. All the systems are working together well. Less energy is being wasted. Reaction speed times improve. Visual field changes. All of that happens when we get in this high coherent state.
So that improves not only our mental functions, but also our autonomic nervous system, which controls 90% of the body's involuntary functions, from hormonal to immune response, how well we sleep, digestion. If we can get all those systems in sync or coherent, then we have better health, better wellness, as well as more clarity and better connections and feelings with ourselves and others.
So we can navigate through these stressful external situations with much greater ease and composure, so that what's happening on the outside doesn't cause us as much stress because our internal systems are in sync and coherent.
Now, here's the psychological part. Coherence is naturally triggered when we are experiencing a regenerative, uplifting emotion, like the qualities of the heart. When I'm more appreciative, I'm going to be naturally more coherent. When I'm being caring to someone rather than judging them, I'm going to be naturally more coherent.
It's really the body's natural resonant state. And love, care, compassion, these heart qualities are what are like oil for the system. They help create that state.
Stressful emotions create a chaotic heart rate variability pattern, lower coherence. Incoherent heart rhythms created by our emotional responses start to shut down some of our higher thinking capacities. This can cloud our judgment, ability to discern and make good choices. Sustained regenerative emotions create a smooth and ordered pattern which indicates high coherence. When people are feeling sincere, regenerative, heart-based emotions, such as love, appreciation, and compassion, their heart rhythm pattern naturally becomes more coherent. These coherent heart rhythms send signals to the brain that open up our higher brain functions. We get smarter. You see, your brain is a big winner when we're coherent. Practicing heart coherence for even a few minutes lifts your vibration, making it possible for your heart's intuition to inform your attitudes, discernments, and choices. You don't have to walk around in perfect coherence. The carryover effect gives you enough operational coherence to support balance, emotional poise, and flow in your day-to-day communications and activities. You can reboot using a heart coherence technique anytime your energy starts to drop during the day. Through this experience, you will learn how to shift from incoherence to coherence and gain better health, mental clarity, and the ability to feel better emotionally. It's not as hard as you might think, and in the next chapter, you will learn a simple technique that will help you make this shift anytime, anywhere.
Okay, wow. Let's see, got you guys unmuted. You guys can unmute yourself as you want to. Yeah, so that's my favorite part of this learning about the heart coherence is the science of it. Intuitively, it seemed, a lot of that you kind of know already, but it is neat to know that there's this science that backs up what we kind of already know. So they went through a lot of information in there. We talked about the actual electromagnetic field, and a lot of us already know that, but the fact that our heart puts off this electromagnetic field that is measurable, how many feet out?
3.
Yeah, 3 feet out. And that's where it's measurable, so maybe beyond that. And so they've done a lot of studies as to how my electromagnetic field, what I'm feeding, the field or the person that's sitting next to me. And we all know that, when you're sitting in a room, you're having a great conversation, and a person walks in, that person's energy, you feel it, right? We've always felt that energy. And sometimes it's less positive than other times. And then if you're around somebody that has this really great vibe, that's their magnetic field that's feeding us. And so it's really important that we think about what we're feeding to the field. And would anyone like to comment on that, concept?
Well, I know it changed the energy as soon as that little girl and that little boy came on. The little girl doing yoga and the little boy at the end. It was awesome. And, even though we all know this, it's really nice to have that reminder because, I forget. I forget that stuff, like that I'm sending out that all the time. And so it's a nice reminder for me to remember that.
Yeah.
It is. The other thing that they talked about was coherence, and the fact really what coherence means is really just being in alignment. So being heart, mind, and emotion being all in sync, if you will. And they, again, studies show, we're going to learn more and more about that as we move through these chapters. Studies show that the higher our coherence is, the healthier we are, and it helps us deal with become more resilient and deal with stress. And stress happens to be, one of probably the leading cause of disease. And so if we can manage that, it has a great bearing on our being. The other thing that they talked about was that heart rate variability. We call it HRV for short. So if you hear me use that terminology, HRV, that's what this is measuring. HRV, heart rate variability. And you saw when the heart's out of sync or not in coherence, the up and down of the beat is very jagged. And then when it's coherent, you'll see it's more smooth up and down. So you'll see those. So when you're looking at the app that goes along with it, this happens to be the Global Coherence App, which is also measuring coherence here. But the Inner Balance Trainer app that comes with the Inner Balance Trainer has a lot more specifics on your coherence when you're measuring yourself. And I noticed that mine was going pretty well. And then when you guys noticed that I wasn't sharing my sound, and I got kind of frazzled for a second, and I saw mine kind of just got out of coherence like that. And so what's great about the Inner Balance Trainer is that when you are practicing, you'll notice, you're like, okay, I'm in coherence, and it tells you. And then my mind will wander, and I'm like, oh, and then beep, nope, I'm not in coherence anymore. It's that quick. But it's easy to get back in, if you just practice that.
I got a technical question. What's the relationship of all this to blood pressure?
So it's not, when they measure heart rate variability, they're really measuring the beats between the heart. So it's different than when we measure like on your Fitbit or your Apple Watch, where they measure beats per minute. And then I'm gonna ask Sherry, because Sherry's got the nursing background and she went through the same training as I did. But I'll say that getting into coherence can actually help your blood pressure, but it's measured differently. Sherry, you want to add to that?
Well, yeah, because you're working with your sympathetic nervous system when you do that. So that's naturally gonna, think there's like some vasodilation. Yeah, I think that it's definitely going to be good for your blood pressure. It'd be really interesting. We should do that, Debbie, next time we're together. And
okay, I'm healing my heart right now. Thank you.
Awesome, let's do it. Yeah.
I have a bit of heart disease from being bad.
Don't we all? Don't we all?
We're working on that. Thanks.
I thought it was cool how it talked about when it knows that you're saying not thinking or feeling, so that it's it's a regulator.
You're going in and out, but I think I love what you're saying. It tells you whether you're aligned or not.
Yes, just in your own inner being, whether what I'm saying, but inside I'm feeling something different.
Oh, that's cool. That's useful, because I'm pretty honest when I can, but I fool myself.
I can do the worst about that. I can be smiling and be pissed off. And I really don't want to do that. I don't want to send out. I can be like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you do.
That really fake smile?
I feel like crap, but I'm not going to let you know.
And I'm really working on not giving that mixed message, because then it's like it keeps everybody on eggshells, because they don't really know what's wrong, but they know something's not right.
Right.
So it makes me nervous, as my husband always says, nervous as a long-tailed cat in a room full of rockers. It's like, so yeah, I don't want to be like that. I don't want to make people confused when they're around me. So
that's when you want them to buy your service either.
What's that?
When you want them to purchase your offering, your service, your work.
You're a crazy bitch. I don't want to work with you.
Right.
So what's interesting about what you're talking about there is that, I work in a very relaxing atmosphere. But a lot of times I'm working on projects and I've got deadlines and I'm thinking, things that have to be done. So I'll be cooking along, thinking in my own mind that I'm not even faking it. Like I feel like, oh, I'm good. I'm zen. I'm feeling very relaxed. And I think I'm in coherence. I'll plug the thing on and I'm not. Mm-hmm. Right. And so that's like you were saying, Lori, it's a way. So it's really a way for me to just check in with myself, because now I'm learning without the device what that feels like when I'm in coherence, right? Coherence is a different feeling, and you'll learn that as you start practicing. It's that almost that feeling of bliss. It's that feeling of flow that I always talked about before. That it's a different. it washes over you, and you just can't, you can't fake that, right? When you've got the heart involved. So it's really, really interesting. But I have thought that because I'm chill, that must be in coherence. And so I'm learning that about myself.
Cool.
Any other comments before we learn or watch the second video, which we'll actually learn that quick coherence technique? And
how do we buy one?
Excuse me?
How do we buy one? Do you get credit if we buy it through a certain way?
You have an affiliate link, so yes, a little bit. I'll follow up email. I'll send you the link.
Okay.
And again, it's not necessary, but it is helpful for me.
Oh.
I'm kind of one of those people like to watch, and see.
Yeah.
Oh, you can hear my chickens?
Bruce just came in and he was in the other room and he goes, "What's going on?" I love your chickies.
They're cute.
All right, so this second video actually is going to get us into the nuts and bolts of the quick coherence technique, and I invite you to play along. So this is how you'll start learning to practice with it. Okay.
Now, let's experience more heart connection and increase your coherence. Howard Martin will lead you through the quick coherence technique.
I'd like you to bring your attention and awareness to your heart, to the center of your chest. Now imagine your breath is flowing in and out through your heart or chest area, breathing a little slower and deeper than usual. Just find an easy rhythm that's comfortable. Putting your attention around the heart area helps you center and get coherent. As you continue heart-focused breathing, make a sincere attempt to experience a regenerative feeling, such as appreciation or care for someone or something in your life. Perhaps you can re-experience a time when you felt love or appreciation for a person, a pet, time in nature, an accomplishment, or just breathe the attitude of love or gratitude. As you're doing this, you're increasing your coherence level. Your nervous system is synchronizing. Hormones are being released into your system that regenerates you. Signals from your heart to your brain are moving through your emotional and higher brain centers. This opens the door for you to experience more uplifting emotions and access to intuitive insight.
You've just experienced the quick coherence technique. You can shift to your heart and do it anytime, anywhere, eyes open or closed. The steps we just did are heart-focused breathing, activate a positive, renewing feeling. Quick coherence activates our heart qualities, such as care, compassion, and gratitude. If you can't feel one particular heart quality, go to another one while continuing heart-focused breathing to energize the heart quality. This starts to release the neurochemicals that lift your system, clear your mind, and increase wholeness health. We suggest you practice the quick coherence technique several times during your day. It can be especially useful to restore balance and flow when you're feeling stressed or overloaded. Another good time to use it is during transitions, like before meetings, before going into work, or when coming home. An especially useful application is before important communications, like phone calls, emails, or when needing to speak to somebody about a problem. This can prevent a lot of stress to have to clean up after. The HeartMath tools you are learning will help you uncover your own capacity to create a new reality that is best for you. With the quick coherence technique, you strengthen the attributes of the heart, such as love, appreciation, care, compassion, breathing in these qualities of the heart and imprinting them into your intentions for health, performance, better communication. Once you get your system focused in heart coherence, this is the optimal time to envision what you want to change for the better.
Honestly, I really just sort of bask in this amazing feeling as I'm going along and linger in this place for a long while because it really feels great. And it really sets my tone and pace for what I'm going to create in this day. And this is how I practice the quick coherence technique.
Just throughout my day, I find myself breathing into my heart's area a lot, and I catch myself. I'm always amazed at how often I'm tense, as much as I go through the world pretty happy and joyful and optimistic. I'm just not activating that part as often as I would like. So every time I reconnect, I'm like, oh, okay, right, this is my home state.
I like it because I can do it on the fly, I can do it in the moment, but I can also do it to prep for some of those events that might be triggers for me. And not always the dangerous situations you might think of in the field, but even dealing in my career with maybe a boss that was problematic, or traffic when I lived in the DC area. Quick coherence was a great go-to for me to just get into a coherent place, feel better, and once again, thereby just giving me clarity of mind to not let the stressors really get to me.
The people don't have to go to meditate or to be on their own or to get away from the situation. What I love about our tools is using them with eyes open. So when people are in and talking about the conflict between them, using the tools while their eyes are open, still talking, helps to really heal the differences or get to a place where the differences can be healed a bit more effectively.
And for me, that has been something I've taken seriously without the seriousness, but a commitment. I've made a commitment and intention to be aware of that, to do the spot checks, to practice these techniques, because I want to contribute love.
Signals go up into the brain that begin to open up the higher perceptual centers of the brain, so you begin to perceive differently. Things aren't as necessarily as stressful. Things aren't as confusing. Things aren't as frustrating or agitating, when you're in that state. And you're able to see into how to navigate life.
And actually, as you practice this, the feeling gets easier and easier to recall and to choose on demand. So we can live a more grateful, appreciative life without waiting for something external to inspire that appreciation, but live more in that heart-based quality of gratitude and appreciation more of the time, which improves our health, our relationships, our communications, our insight, our intuition. It has global benefits for us.
And all that happens very quickly when you use that quick coherence technique, which is simply this: heart focused breathing, and the activation of a regenerative uplifting motion, a heart feeling.
Enjoy the process. Our everyday life is dictated by emotions, much more than we can see.
The technology piece I'm still working on. All right, what do you think about that?
Yet again, something so easy that we forget to do it, but powerful.
Mm-hmm.
A shift.
It is. And I appreciate some of those comments at the end about how different people are using it in their everyday life. And it is, I mean, it is that easy. But it does, the more you practice it, just like anything, it is easy to jump into coherence quickly. And it's also easy to get out of that practice, so I find when I'm not practicing, on a daily basis, I am more reactive. And when I'm, practicing regularly, I can stay more, with that grateful, appreciative, just that lifestyle. Really. So I'm interested to know, did you guys play along with it and yeah. Were you able to feel that feeling of, I mean, to me, sometimes it's, especially when you add, like he said, activate it, you start with the heart breathing, which that in itself is going to help. And then when you activate it with that elevated regenerative qualities of the heart, like gratitude or compassion, that's when I really feel that, almost like an emotional release sometimes. And it feels good. I like one of them I wrote down. She's like, I like to bask in the amazing feeling. I'm like, yes, that's exactly how I feel. Basking in it just feels really great.
I noticed when I practiced, I did it when we did it. I was like, well, this is just, I was thinking about my new kit and it's like, well, you just think about that and there you go. And it just feels good. And it's like, oh, and then you're smiling. And then it's like, and then it's doing all what it does inside. So
cat therapy. Yes.
And I just had the happy thought, right? Yeah.
Did you guys hear my chickens when they were doing that? Because that's what I heard when they were talking about a pet. My chickens went cheep cheep, and I was like, oh.
He's in the background during this.
Yeah.
Yeah, my big cat is next to the computer, soaking it up.
So Terrence, I'm interested, with your line of work, if you feel like this is something that you would be able to use with your clients.
Yeah, so
You
do. So well, I kind of got a couple different hats, but I'm a former professor. So I was a former counseling professor at Mississippi College. I've been a therapist for a number of years. So I did a lot of work with college students, with high school students, with juvenile delinquents, and all that kind of stuff. So a lot of like when they were talking about not incoherence. What's the word? Not being congruent. We kind of look at it from a body language standpoint. And so that's what I was thinking about, because your body language can say something different than what you're saying. And so the same thing with the heart. And so it's like somebody could be talking about something, you like, yeah, but they don't feel like but I could definitely see a tie into that. But I've been moving more towards, I won't say like life coaching, but I've been moving more towards consulting, because I think mental health focused counseling is it's a limit to it. I think you have to look at it in a holistic way. And so that's kind of what I'm moving towards now. And so I could definitely see a way for this kind of integrate into some of the stuff that I'm doing too. So yeah. And I feel relaxed during the thing too.
Yeah. Sherry and I are both, do life coaching type of things as well, and have integrated this into working with our clients as well. First of all, you got to do it in a personal standpoint, and get yourself there. But I've introduced it to a lot of my clients, and we'll start a lot of our coaching sessions with some heart-focused breathing, just to get started, and that just kind of gets us into a coherent state. So that way, like it said, in the video, that you become more perceptive, and there's a lot of other health benefits. But when you're getting ready to learn something new or talk about something going on in your life, it's it's really helpful. What about you, Lisa? Do you feel like, I know that you're kind of retired now, but a lot of you were, kind of getting into that coaching thing too. Is this something that you've done before with the heart focused breathing, or you're muted? Hold on, you're muted.
It's funny you should ask. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Because last week I was on a call with Omega Institute, and they did a heart-centered meditation at the beginning of the talk. But what they did, which I loved, is they added a candle inside of your heart. Mm-hmm. And every time you took the deep breath up, the candle got bigger and bigger. And then I took that one step further, and that the flame of the candle was eating away at anything that was not of use to me anymore. So yes, I could definitely see using it.
Yeah, I love that. And I use it a lot in my meditations, even when we're getting ready to paint, and as a group, because again, this is one tool in the toolbox, but you can use it in so many different ways, and putting your own spin on it. So like I use it when we're painting. I find when I'm painting, if I put my inner balance trainer on when I'm painting and I get into my flow, my coherence levels are high. And so I think, again, it's just, there's different ways to skin this cat. And this is just one way we can add it to our toolbox and use it, in a lot of different ways, but with the same concepts of being heart-centered, heart-focused. So
yeah.
Is there anyone else on the line? I know I think Kayla, I don't see her, but she's there. But Kayla, would you like to add in, or Dottie?
I really enjoy, I guess I'm like the only one that's not really in a work space right now. So I enjoyed the part of it, just integrating it into daily life, like transitioning from one thing to the next, or before you meet up with a friend, or before you make a phone call. That was really profound for me, because I think I do that a lot. I think just because I woke up and I'm feeling good, I'm going to have a great day. And so, and that's never the case. So I think just to be aware of that just really helped me.
Yeah, and I would usually do a short meditation before I got out of bed and start doing some heart focused breathing. But I noticed if I do that, like you said, I'll wake up, I'm thinking I'm going to have a great day. But if I go ahead and take it one step further and add that, 3 to 5 minutes of heart focused breathing, doing my quick coherence techniques, I can actually make that day a lot better, because it does kind of put me in that mode. And then I'm very protective of that. So once things start coming in, your stressors of the day, I'm like you're not coming in. I'm going to stay in my protected coherent mode, because it's good for me and it's good for everyone that's around me. I like that also in the video. They talked about how it is helpful with your relationships. So try it with your spouse. Again, it's easy. Any of us can teach it because it's an easy technique. Try it with your children. I taught Jenner how to do it, and he'll hook it up to his phone, and he can get a coherence like that. It's amazing as a kid. I guess they just don't have the same baggage. But
technology.
Yeah.
I'm gonna breathe on my computer.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well,
hey, Gina, I have a question.
Sure.
I can certainly see the benefit for personal use, and how you have to constantly remind yourself that this is your home space. I get that, but I'm also interested in, do you do anything with this on more of the global scale? Because certainly right now we need that, and I'd like to understand how that looks.
Yeah, so I'm glad you asked. So the Global Coherence Hotspot network that we are part of now is this group. They also have been doing weekly webinars with people from around the world, and it's right now it's on Sundays, and I'll be happy to share that link in there if you're interested in attending any of those. They're lovely. Every time I come out of one of those weekly webinars, I just feel I mean, I'm almost brought to tears every weekend, because in a good way, just it's inspiring. And it is interesting because, and we're going to learn as we go through these next few chapters, that it does, like Rusty says, it starts with the personal coherence, and then we're going to learn how to take that to a social coherence, which is more about, those of us that are, around us in our relationships, our immediate relationships, and then that global coherence. So we really can make a difference the more people that we have doing this. And the HeartMath Institute is actually doing a global coherence initiative where they're putting, similar to this technology, but on a larger scale, they've got places around the earth where they're measuring the Earth's resonance.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I saw that on their website, and I also saw where they're putting sensors on trees.
Yes.
And learning how they communicate with each other.
Yes.
I thought that was pretty interesting.
It is really cool. Yes. So they've kind of done the math, and I believe it's, if 350,000 people are going to coherence at the same time, we can have a definite impact on the global coherence. And if you think about 350,000 people around the world, that's not that many. Already have a lot of people that are doing it. So that's kind of the purpose of this Global Coherence app, is to bring people around the world. And when you do get on this, they'll have different times, where you can do it on your own anytime, but they'll have like different times where like everyone's going to do it at a certain time. And if you can pop on, that's great, because you're adding to the field. So yeah, so that's kind of what this is all about, Rusty. Actually, the hotspot is, I learned about it on the personal level, but when I saw this global coherence thing, I wanted to be a part of it. And yeah, and we'll, anything that we can do to add, because like you said, the world needs it. The world needs us right now to be doing it. So just, share, and we'll all share the link to the global one. It's really interesting because you'll have people from all over the world. And I would love it if our group, if we started getting people, I've got people from other parts of the world that I'm hoping will pop on eventually, and you guys can invite people as well. So this is all about what we can do for ourselves and for others.
Excellent.
All right. Well, does anybody else have a comment or any question or anything before we go? All right. Well, I'll go ahead and follow up again, like I did last week, with an email with today's replay. Next week, it'll be the same time, Wednesday at 2. And I hope you guys can join us. And
we still register each time, right?
Yes, but if you don't and you still have the link, you can pop on. It's the same Zoom link every week. So if you register, it just puts you in my cycle of letting you reminders and things like that. So, but if you forget and you want to pop on, I don't care. I don't, And again, I'll see where this was. Maybe I'll include this in the email and see where we ended up with. I saw, my coherence was going up and down at different points, but when we were practicing, it got up pretty high. So that's exciting. Cool. Yeah. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Gina.
Thank you.
Thanks, Gina.
Thank you.